Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Everybody, it's Tuesday night. It's time for another live Wicked Horror Show. I'm Kevin, and as always, I'm joined by Tony Has Nine Fingers.
What is going on, people?
And Tony, would you like to introduce our very special guest? Welcoming our very special guest back.
Welcoming
Our very All right, go ahead.
From Massacre Academy and Wolf Hollow and many other projects.
Time's up. Don't forget, time's up, right?
Many different things that we will be talking about in this podcast. We've had her on before, Christina Krakowski. Hopefully, I said that right.
Yes, you did.
I was almost gonna bet on whether or not you got it right or not.
I'm horrible with pronunciations, so
it's pronounced just exactly how it looks.
Yeah, it looks. It sounds as it looks.
Shush! It was a lot tougher. Give me a little credit.
Oh no, you did great. Congratulations, Tony. You did great.
Yay!
So yeah, welcome back. It's been a while since you've been on, and
it has been.
Yeah, you've got a lot of stuff in the works. I know we talked to you a while back about Massacre Academy, and I think we touched on Wolf Hollow a bit as well. But it's you guys are doing like some festival run stuff, or is that what's going on now?
We are, yeah. So Wolf Hollow had its premiere April 1st. And since then, it's been in a couple of different festivals and had some screenings, and it just got picked up with distribution. So a lot of exciting news about that.
Oh, really? Distribute? Can you talk about that at all? Like, do you know much about it, or?
I know a little bit about it. I'm just gonna say it, okay? Because I never know what I can and can't say.
Yeah.
So it's fine. So we signed with Gravitas. And we were very, very excited about that. So right now it's going through the market and is set to potentially come out. Is rumored August is what I'm been told.
Awesome. And is that going to be like physical and streaming and all that stuff, or
that I'm not sure of? I hope that it would be like on streaming platforms or even like a theatrical release, but I'm not sure where that's going to go. But as I find out, I will definitely be sharing it, and Mark
that's awesome.
will as well.
With Gravitas is usually the streaming and physical, because I got a bunch of Gravitas Ventures physical media. So usually I know with them I don't know about theatrical, but I know through them with them it's at least streaming and the physical side, which is awesome for me. But
with like there's a lot of independent stuff like hitting the theaters, like even if it's just for like a Fathom events on a weekend or something like that, it's some of them are doing very well. So it's probably smart to
so those Fathom events makes more than some of the mainstream. So then it goes from one weekend to 2 weekends through a whole month. So
right.
And it's awesome. We've said it a bunch, but there's definitely a big resurgence right now. Like there's been a resurgence for a while, but as far as like the fact that some of these are being able to hit theaters and doing so well, I think it's huge, and it's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. Less of the Hollywood mumbo jumbo where it's all the same movie over and over again, and more of the original stuff and the cool stuff where you get to see actors and actresses that aren't just jaded. I'm just doing this for a paycheck, whatever. But see people like yourself, who's a young actress who's killing it right now, and that's awesome. So want to talk a little bit about Wolf Hollow? It's for those who don't know, it's a werewolf movie, which I'm a fan of in any way, So talk a little bit about the movie and about your character.
Yeah, absolutely. So Wolf Hollow, it's about a group of filmmakers who go out on a location scout. And if anyone who's unfamiliar with film terms, that's where you're deciding to film a movie. So they go to a haunted hayride and they don't realize that there's werewolves on the property. So I star as Alex Romero, and she is playing the producer in the film and trying to keep everybody on track and, on schedule. But she's quite the force, honestly. And I loved that because compared to what I played in Massacre, it was like night and day. So I really, really enjoyed portraying Alex for sure.
Because you're a badass. That's why, right? Totally. And there's an awesome cast too. There's a bunch of like legends basically in the movie, yeah. And you had the same deal with Massacre Academy and with Time's Up, right? There was a bunch of people that just pop up.
So I actually wasn't on Time's Up, but I know tons of like awesome people who were, and I worked very.
For some
closely
reason, I could have sworn that when I looked,
everyone thinks like it's all because the circle and everything like that. But for Wolf Hollow, it was incredible. I got to work with Lynn Lowry, who is a gem. I love working with her so much. That was the first time working with her.
So nice.
But yeah, she's incredibly kind. I got to work with Felissa again, who is also a joy and kind, and she had me cracking up on set. Oh my gosh, her character is something else in this too. But yeah. I loved working with her as well. And we had Hannah Fearman. We had so many great people on this project.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I love seeing that that Lynn Lowry's been popping up a bunch lately too. Like she would here and there she would pop up, but it's like, like I'm seeing her more. Like I just saw a post of her from her today where she's actually I'm actually playing a zombie for the first time ever in a movie. I'm like, what? That's hard to believe, but I guess it's true.
Right.
Yeah, just real quick, Sergio saying, hey, Kevin and Tony, and then after that he said, hi, Christina. So what's up, Serge? And then we have Broken Native saying holla, and Angel's in the chat on Facebook saying hope everyone is well. What's up, Angel? I just recorded an episode with him for That Strange Show this past weekend. It was a good time. We got to the point where I'm sure you both know a point in your life where you're talking to friends and it ends up being like way too late. And the way you know that is because everything is hysterically funny. No matter what you say, you're just like, don't breathe. That's exactly
it's like, okay, yeah, I think it's time to go to bed.
Time to go to bed, yeah.
Been there.
Yeah. So just so you know, it doesn't change as you get older and older because I'm like twice your age. But
now here's a question for working with Lynn and Felissa. Like, was there any more pressure or did you find it a little bit more like easier working like with them, or how does that work?
So I remember feeling like kind of just excited. Like I was just generally excited. I try to stay away from like anxious thinking of like, oh gosh, am I gonna be able to amount to like, these people have been doing this for, and have established themselves so much. So I was more thinking like, what can I learn and how can I like grow from working with such great people? So there really wasn't that much added pressure. And like I said before, they are so nice that like, they just make you feel right at home on set.
Yeah. I can't imagine like, other than acting in movies, I don't think I've ever seen Felissa like upset, so I can't even imagine her like flipping. But I'm sure it happens, but
yeah,
but she's such a like, again, Lynn and Felissa are both like, I was telling her before you jumped on, Tony, that I got to see Felissa like a week or so ago at a con, and same deal. As soon as she saw me, she's like, oh my God, and like came over and like it's been a couple years since I've seen her in person, and she's still like, right away, it was awesome.
I've never seen her not give a hug to someone who goes up to it's like it's annoying for waiting in line, but it's like awesome. that when you go to meet her, you're gonna get the exact same treatment. So it's like, okay, it takes a while, but at least some people are like, here you go.
Yeah.
And she's on the opposite. How are you doing? How's it going? Like just so animated.
Everyone under the book.
No,
like,
exactly.
No matter like anything. Like there's a dude there that that like is completely. He was not a horror movie fan or whatever. He was just a very whatever. But he was there because of her. And you have that. Then you have like these young kids that are totally intimidated by her because she's like someone that they've seen in all these movies. And it's weird. It's like the whole gambit. She has a lot of like followers in the trans community and stuff that like will show up at every con. I see them at every con, and they're always like, "Hey, what's going on?" Because that's the only way I know them is from seeing them at Felissa's booth. And there was people I was going around talking to people, and I was like, "Oh, have you talked to Felissa yet?" And they're like, "Oh no, I'm too scared." I'm like, "I'll hook it up," And they have it like it's a vendor, right? Like there was a vendor who sells tea. I'm like, I can go ask her what kind of tea she likes. And she's like, really? I'm like, yeah, I'll go do that. And then that's how she was able to get in. And then there's pictures of them hugging and all this other stuff on social media. And she was like, "Thank you so much. I was so nervous." I'm like, "She's fantastic. She'll never forget you again. Never forget you." But so it must be awesome to work with those kinds of people, and also as a young actress, hopefully that mentality will stay with you in your career and be like, these people are awesome and they treat their fans so great and they're so down to earth and just so cool. I'm going to do the same thing. So
absolutely, yeah, for sure. Like I every day I would go on to set, I would love her energy. You could just sense she was there. You can hear her laughing, you can hear her talking, and it's just like, yes, this is where I want to be today.
yeah, totally. Yeah, it's a good job to have. I wish I had that going in the work.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like the people I work with, but it's not the same. I mean, if I work with Melissa, it'd be different, but I don't think she would do good in collections. She's too nice. She's like, I'll just pay all your bills for you.
Right.
But so do you have, is there anything you recently relocated? We don't want to say too much, but you recently relocated. Are you looking into, well, you were talking also before we went on about the writer's strike, so it's a little different, but you're in an area where it's kind of been almost like the mecca, for like TV shows and stuff. So was that the reason you relocated out there, or?
It was part of it for sure. I just kind of wanted to expand my network and just see, what other work I could find, out this way. The writer's strikes, yeah, it's been kind of like insane, and I really hope that they get the benefits that they deserve. These writers, they work so hard, and but it's definitely caused a stagnant in work. Like it's not, obviously it's kind of like paused for right now, but the indie scene is still buzzing, which is really good. And we love that.
Oh yeah. And there's a good sized indie scene out there too. We've had a bunch of different groups of people that have come on that are from that area, and they're all doing their own thing and they're all like their own style. And it's cool. It's like, you take parts of different states that have their own little cool little film industry going on, and then you just move them all to that area, and it's just like you have everything. So
exactly,
yeah. I'm a little.
The indie scene might grow again. I mean, with the pandemic, it grew exponentially. Now with this, possibly it'll get that extra oomph it needs to get. I think more eyes on it. So.
He hopes to get all of what they deserve.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you get it all. That could be taken either way, I guess, right?
Yeah.
You deserve paper cuts because you're a writer. I'm totally out of the loop when it comes to this kind of stuff. So how long has it even been going on? Because I know they had one years and years and years ago.
They did. They had one, I think it was like 10 or 15 years ago, and it lasted like 100 days or something. This one just started a couple of days ago, like some point this week. So they're in the early stages of it. But hopefully, something will get worked out sooner than later. Because I know a lot of big television shows right now are on hold for it.
Yeah, and that'll start to affect a lot.
Oh yeah.
You're going to have people not either paying to subscribe to like a service that they were subscribed to because of a show, or not paying for cable or whatever because it's so expensive and their shows aren't on there. Right. But yeah, it's a weird time. It is a weird time. Yeah, we're going through a switch in how we consume our media, and at the same time, it's there's some people that obviously need to get what they've earned. Right. It's almost like they need writers. Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
they need writers. They do. You're right, Angel. So are you trying to say that you want to be a writer in Hollywood, Angel? Is that what you're telling me? Is that Strange Show done? Is that what you're saying? Anyways, I don't know. Anyways, Tony, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say with Massacre Academy and then Wolf Hollow, do you have to? Well, two completely different movies too. Yeah. But do you go into something because you said you had probably more of a prominent role in Wolf Hollow? Did you look at it, go into it differently? But also because you did Massacre before, I'm guessing you had a little bit more, I guess, knowledge going. Me, I never acted before, so I couldn't even begin to think of, okay, now going into something completely different, but at least you have a mindset of, I have something under my belt. How does it?
Yeah, I think for me, I got lucky because I worked with Mark on both projects. So with Massacre, the expectations were already there. I knew what I was going into. I knew a lot of the cast, which helped. It was definitely a shift though, because in Massacre, I was on the more supporting side. But for Wolf, it was all me for most of it. And there was definitely a lot. It was definitely a shift because to go from playing such like a timid character in Massacre and then such an outspoken character in Wolf, it was fun, but it definitely challenged my range. And there was a lot of emotional layers to this character that I explored. And I remember there was a couple of scenes that were a little bit challenging, but at some point in the movie, I won't say where, there is a scene I am like very emotional. And for me, when I'm like in a scene and I'm crying, like I don't do the teardrops or the, you know, menthol sticks that some actors use to get the tears going. Like I get myself there. And Mark thankfully works like very, very quickly and very efficiently, but he really liked where I was. So during the scene, we did the scene maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 times of just pure sobbing. And normally we'd be done in 3 or 4 takes. So I was like, oh, you know, we're almost there. And then it got to the point where I was crying because we were still taking takes. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much. But I'm really glad I was able to challenge that range so much and explore that side of it, because it's always really, really cool to see how far you can really go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's awesome. And the fact that you can pull that out of you too. Like, I think if I remember correctly, I think the last time you were on, we talked about that. Was there like a song that you listened to that gets you? Was it something like that?
So I do use music. And for me, like, I know some, like, all actors have their own little, like, style or method or things that they do. But for me, like, I try not to, like, pull from real life things because that gets a little too, like, touchy or traumatizing. Like, I want to go home happy at the end of the day. So for me, like, I use a combination. I use, like, music, but I also just use, like, imaginary circumstances. So it's like, okay, I know this is not real. I have to pretend it's real for now to use it as fuel. But at the end of the day, I can go home happy and not be crying over who knows.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know where to start with that.
Yeah,
I would probably be so nervous I'd want to cry anyways. So
that does help. Yeah.
That's what's going on. I'm very, very good. Angel's already asking where we can see Wolf Hollow. We can't see it yet. It's going to be coming out. I'm sorry. What was the month you said that?
I think August is what we're looking at right now, if I'm not mistaken. But the trailer is online. If you guys,
and it's also going to be here.
Oh, that too! Yay!
But yeah, it looks awesome. I'm a big fan of monster movies. So and I'm also a big fan of practical effects.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the one thing you get a lot with independent movies is practical effects and just really cool looking. Like really have to like kind of use your art to really get things done, as opposed to being like, all right, computerize this, like we just talked about when I recorded with Angel last time, we just talked about Renfield and how much we liked it, but there's a lot of computer blood in it and stuff like that. So it's like, it's still really good. It was appropriate for the movie because it's very much an action movie at the same time as a comedy, and almost horror is like the least part on the rung, but it was still good.
Right.
Yeah,
we definitely had a lot of practical effects in Wolf, which was really cool because I prefer that too, because I can see it. I see it right in front of me. There was very few CGI, moments that we needed to use. A lot of it was practical effects. That was another thing that I thought was cool, was I got to work with like a lot of the makeup, and obviously the wolf, is insane. It's been cool.
I think the last time we had the director on, I think he was talking about like they were going through the process or something of getting the wolf like made, and it just seemed very interesting. And
I want to be able to understand. Okay, here's this tennis ball. Pretend it's a gigantic werewolf, and starts screaming at it. It's like, okay, sure.
I love the behind the scenes footage of that, like where the actors are like scared of the tennis ball, and it's like, oh man,
oh my god.
This person hates tennis. They must have been like, assaulted by, I'm trying to think of a tennis player and I don't know any.
Andre Agassi.
There you go. I think Angel's making fun of me because I said computer people. Hashtag computer people. Thanks, Angel. But yeah, it's that's also very that's something that I've never really thought about that much, as far as having to react to that kind of stuff,
Right.
I mean, I do watch a lot of behind the scenes stuff, but I always assume like, okay, these guys have been doing it a billion times, so they know what's up. But like you're fairly new, not in a bad way. It's a good thing. You're fairly new, so it would have been a little difficult to be like, like. really scare me. Come on, what's up?
Right. Yeah. Like I definitely, if I have a choice, like I definitely think that the special effects are cool, but you work with what you have to, and sometimes CGI can also work as well. But I really loved like the wolf suits and all of the effects we were able to pull off in Wolf.
Yeah. So wolf suits. I'm assuming there was multiple. I don't know if you're giving anything away. Like we're just taking things and twisting it and making art. There's going to be a gang of wolves that are going to be chasing you through the forest. I'm just going to make it up in my head.
Okay.
No, but no. I'm assuming because you're going to have some replacement parts. Things happen, And
Right.
how long was the process for this one? Like how long did this one take? Because you got to figure too, all the wear and tear on stuff like that, and wear and tear on you emotionally, having to cry for 8 takes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How long did this all take?
So we shot majority of it in 2 weeks. And then we did a couple weekends and a few pickups, but majority was just 2 weeks straight, couple days off in between here and there. But it was definitely a process because we shot backwards. We did it backwards. So that was like my first day was like kind of like the climax of the film.
Wow.
And that definitely was cool because I got to get into it and I was there and I was present and then kind of ease down, as filming went on.
So it's like the most stressful part is going to be right now, and the rest is going to be cake. Yeah.
And then the last day that we filmed, it ended with a real bang because we did a really big special effects thing, which was involving. I guess I can say this. It's fine. Sorry, Mark, if I don't. But anyways, it was involving real animal intestines and about, I'd say, 6 gallons of fake blood.
So it wasn't real blood. At least it
was not real blood, no, but it was real guts, which was interesting. So there was a hit taken by that, but Mark made it up to me because he had to take the same hit after we wrapped that day. So
nice, that's good. Yeah, it's weird. Like for someone like me, where I've watched horror movies my whole life and I'm not really grossed out by much. There's a difference between reality and obviously movies. But like years ago, I worked in a hospital and I used to sterilize the operating rooms between surgeries, and I did not last very long. Let's just say that.
Oh, yeah.
Not a pleasant thing.
No, I would imagine it wouldn't be.
I'm assuming they got animal stuff from like a butcher or something. And that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd probably be pretty nasty. I would want to not be part of that. And now people are still making fun of me saying #liking Goon Squad. That's the name of the gang. And we'll follow, I guess. Thanks, Angel.
Now it is. Yeah.
Exactly. I have to have some t-shirts made up. Actually, let's play the trailer.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
We'll follow, and then we'll talk about some other stuff. So this is only about 1:18 seconds. We'll be right back. And this one has been around for a little while. I don't know if there's any newer ones that are coming out or if there's going to be a change in anything, but I think this one's been around for like 7 months, this trailer. But either way, it's still awesome. So here we go. We'll follow. We'll be right back.
Y'all ain't from around these parts, are you? We don't take too kindly to strangers around the hollow, that's for sure. Only 2 rules around Wolf Hollow. Don't cause no trouble with the locals. And if you do, get out before nightfall.
There you go. Wolf Hollow, everyone. It looks awesome. Like even like seeing photos of the wolf costume or whatever, and then like seeing it on like in a scene, it's completely different. Like it shows like lighting and cinematography can do. It's pretty sick.
It's crazy, honestly.
Yeah, it looks awesome. Yeah, and Broken Native says awesome. Yes, I agree. Awesome. So yeah, again, it's awesome to see like Lynn Lowry and Felissa and Hannah in these movies too, and like Daniel John as well.
Oh yeah.
Because I was hoping to run into him at that last con too, because he's kind of local. So I was messaging him like, "Hey, you gonna go hang out with Felissa?" But it's awesome to see him in these awesome projects too, because I've known him for a while. Both Angel and I both know him from cons where he was just a fan, just like us. And he's like, I want to get into this stuff. And next thing you know, look at him. You know, he's in movies. Like, he has something to do with most of the awesome movies that are coming out that I want to have something to do with, you know, that I want to see. Like, it's like, you're doing it. I'm still doing this. It's don't take that the wrong way. I enjoy it. It's just different, you know?
Absolutely. I love working with Dan, honestly. He was on Massacre too, which is where I ended up meeting him. And I was really happy that he was a part of Wolf as well. So for sure.
Yeah. He's living my dreams. Me and Tony. Tony, have you ever wanted to be in a movie?
Like half and half.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the, like, my mind split in half. It's like, I don't think I can, but then I want to, but then it's like,
you like the idea of it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like,
Because then it's like, how would I do it? Or it's like, how would I don't know. It's like some days I could see myself, and then other days I'm like, nah. That's all right. And I'll leave it to the professional.
Right, exactly. And that's why I'm like, I can't do this. Because I'm just like, these other people that rightfully deserve it. And like, I'm just like, I think I could do that. I'm not 100% sure, or I'm not even like 75% sure I could do it. So I'm like, give it to someone who actually is confident with it, you know? Like this, I've had a few opportunities to do stuff here and there, and it's just like, I'm always like extremely self-conscious and like, you know, just like everyone's looking at me. I'm like, yeah, they are. That's what the whole point of this.
Yeah.
How did you get around that? Like, did you ever have that? Like, or are you just a confident person in general?
No, I had that very, very much at the start of all of this. I struggle with a lot of anxiety. So whenever I first got into acting, which is ironic, like I wasn't social, fully anxious, and I was like, you know what I'm going to do? Acting. Make it make sense. I don't know. But I loved it. So I started with acting classes, and I like struggled even to make eye contact with people. Like, that's how bad I was at it. But really it came down to just like exposure therapy and just doing it over and over and over and just building it, because I was the same. It's like, I loved the idea of it, but the execution of it for a very long time just really scared me. But I was able to overcome it just by doing it more and more and realizing how much I really do love it, and just finding, you know, that confidence in my performance. But yeah, I definitely did start that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what makes a good actor or actress or whatever, is the people that can just get past that. Like, I put on a good game face, but it's like a panic attack every time in my mind. It's like every time, because I do panels and stuff at cons too. And part of the reason I agreed to start trying to do those things is because it's trying to get me past an anxiety thing, you know? But I don't know. At the same time too, like, there's been stuff that I've done, like me and my cousin Leo did a documentary for a movie, and they were showing it at Horror Fest. And as soon as it started, and as soon as I was on screen, I just got up and walked out. I'm like, I can't even see this.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. Sergio saying it's good. So I agree, Serge. It does. And Shutter Blade Media, Joe. What's up, Joe? He was just on a little while back. He's a friend of the show for sure, and just a friend in general. He's good. He's good people. I was actually thinking about emailing him recently. I was just like, I should probably just do it, because I don't think I have your phone number anymore, Joe. You should email me that, so that way I can just text you or whatever. But yeah, so that's pretty sick. And you're going in, like, you're going all in. So that's pretty awesome. And again, you're younger. So like for someone like me, it's like, hey, I want to get into the biz. I'm going to be 50 in a couple of years. Like, that's not going to work.
They still need all kinds of people. Yeah.
Actually, now that I think of it, I think it was Rodney Dangerfield, the old comic. I think he didn't start stand up until he was 50. Like, that when he first started doing stand up comedy, and then he blew up and was in Caddyshack and all these other movies. And Joe's telling me, email me. I will. And then Angel's saying, rip it and rip it. I don't know what that means, but okay. Rip it and rip it. He's younger than me too. So all these kids with these fancy lingo.
Lingo.
Yeah. That's old people talk. Lango. I just add A's. I'm in from Mass. I take away R's. That's how it works.
Now I have a question. Like, did it make it? I mean, I guess doing the movie backwards and getting the craziness out of the way might help, but then aren't you also drained by the end of it? So then it's like a little harder to even do the easy part. Like, I don't know exactly. Like I said, I'm not an actor.
It definitely had its like pros and cons doing it out of order. I remember I lost my voice basically from doing it that way. So in the beginning, I was a little bit raspier than I normally would be. But other than that, like, I don't know, I have such a good like energy about being on set that like I try to find that every day. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a 4 a.m. call or overnight shoot. Like, I'm just really happy to be there. So it's like I'm energetic, but my body is just like, you've had enough. Like you're running dry here, but you just push through.
Yeah. It must be so for me, because I'm sure we're all in the same boat. I overthink a lot of things, and like I'll be like, all right, I have to be there at this time. The night before, and then I'm like, all right, I'm up and I'm ready to go. But then I get there and I'm like, all right, this is this and this is that, and I'm like, oh, this was nothing. Like now I'm exhausted because I was up all night worried about all this stuff, and I don't know.
I've definitely been there. No, that's been me. Like, especially with like the newer, like the first time I did projects, I would be up like all night. I'm like, do I know my lines? Do I have my backpack? Do I have everything? Do I know where I need to go? Like,
there's a lot of times I'm like sitting there double checking everything, and then I'll be like halfway to a place, and I'm like, I didn't take any of my meds. Like, this is crazy. I have like neuropathy and stuff, so I'm like, this is going to be a painful day.
Oh no,
it is what it is. Joe's saying it's all about being persistent and present. Jesus, I can read. It's all about being present in the moment. Joe's he's a awesome director. So
cool.
if anyone could give me some advice, it would be him. But
sounds like it, yeah.
Like, don't do it. You don't got it, kid. I'm just kidding. It's good to hear people that have made some awesome stuff, like their process and everything, And so I was looking at IMDb and some of your earlier stuff. I know you did like some stuff like going back a little bit, not too. Are any of your older things available? Because I'm a big fan of seeing progression. Like, I want to see where people started and to where they are now, kind of deal. Are any of your old like films you did back in the day available?
I definitely have some shorts floating around. So I have to see where those are. That's like every time I do shorts or even with some features, like I do them and then I never see them again. And I'm like, where'd that go? Like, I need that for my reel, So there's definitely some shorts lingering on like on YouTube. Like the first feature I did to completion was Massacre Academy. So I'm very excited for when that gets to come out, but also it's going to be kind of weird because like if that comes out after Wolf, it's like a flip. Yeah. It's like, whoa, I did that first.
Yeah. Like, oh God, this girl's awesome. I can't consider this other movie that's coming out soon called Massacre Academy.
And I'm like a year or two younger and you're like, oh, she looks like a baby in this. Like, what happened?
Kind of lotion or like lighting, like this anti-aging.
Right. Yeah. So there's that. And then I have a couple things coming up, but I don't know like where some of my shorts went. Like sometimes if I just like type my name into YouTube, I'll find it and I'm like, oh, this exists.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird. That is weird. Like you'd think, you always just assume that people that do things would know what's going on with it, but I guess they don't.
I guess not. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird. But you said, so you do have some other things in the works, you think? Or?
I do. So I just got cast in a short film. It's a psychological thriller, kind of like a campy fireside, like kind of story, but it's got a lot of like nostalgia to it. And I'm really excited about it. I'm starring as Carrington in it. And that's through Nostalgic Nightmare Productions with Jason Burke. And so I'm flying back to Pittsburgh to shoot that in the next few weeks. And I'm really excited because I love just doing all things film, like short film, feature. If I'm like passionate about it and it's a good story, like I want to be a part of it. So I'm really excited to do that.
And look at this, Joe's saying, I'd love to work with her. There you go.
Oh, hey, cool. Definitely.
Yeah, he's last time when we had him on, he's got like a mobile thing going on now too, where he can just basically like he's got everything in like a in like a van kind of deal that he can travel. It's like his like as opposed to like having to worry about hotels and stuff when he travels,
wow.
all this other stuff. He's thought it through. He's got some beautiful stuff. He does some commercial work and stuff too.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really smart, thinking ahead there with the
totally. It's very smart. It's just like, hey, I want you to work on my film, but you're way out there and all. He's like, all right, I'll just put in the GPS and I'll be there,
That's so cool. Yeah. I've actually taken a step behind the camera too, as well, this year. So after Wolf, I took a little bit of a break just to, decompress from all of the chaos with it of just like high emotions and stunts and all this stuff and just taking a little bit of a rest. I started building almost like my own production company, and I started writing scripts. I wrote a pilot, which just placed in the New York International Screenplay Awards. So it's been busy. It's been really busy, but it's exciting.
It's pretty sick.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. Like, we'll talk about other things you were gonna do, but I saw you post that on Facebook, and I was like, oh well, look at that, moving on up, because some people, they like being where they're at and just acting the whole time, and then other people want to take that other step of writing or producing or directing. So looks like you're want to encompass the whole
the whole kit and caboodle.
Whole exactly.
Yeah, I've definitely been branching out. Like, I started where I was like, I am an actor, I am in front of the camera,
that's it,
this is my limits, like I can't do anything else. But working with Mark and like being lucky enough to see the whole process, and just like working with other really creative people, I was able to see and I was like, this is really cool, actually. Like, I know my home is in front of the camera at the end of the day, and acting is what I feel at home with the most. But I definitely really enjoy, just the idea of creating something from scratch and like moving people with like scripts and stories and making a film. I made my first short film. It's called Extinguished, and I made that last winter or 2 winters ago. And it ended up winning a couple of awards and mentions, which is really cool. And that is on YouTube as well. But ever since that, I was like, okay, I did that. I want to do a little more. So I ended up writing an entire series, basically. Like, I was just supposed to write the pilot, but I loved the concept so much that I was like, all right, going big. And so I ended up writing all episodes to that, and have been sending just the pilot around and getting feedback on it and sending it through festivals. And it's been really cool.
Angel's actually asking what the premise of the pilot is. Like,
yeah.
Is it a drama, thriller?
So it's science fiction, more on the post-apocalyptic side. I originally, a little backstory, I went to college very, very briefly at the Art Institute, and they ended up shutting down. But I went there for graphic design because I wanted to be a comic book creator. That was the first job I was thinking of doing. But I really enjoyed it, but I was behind a computer a lot, and I missed that hands-on feeling of like that performing gives for you. So I had come up with a lot of comic book ideas whenever I was in college at the time. And I shelved them for a long time because I was like, what am I going to do with this now? And then I ended up revisiting them, and I was like, okay, I might not make a comic book out of them, but I can translate them into something. And I said, what about a television series? And it actually worked really easy because I had like a volume mapped out at first. And I was like, oh, that could just be a season, and break it down into episodes. And
you pretty much like kind of almost have like a storyboard already made. And
exactly. It was really helpful, actually. Yeah. So it is a like science fiction post-apocalyptic series. And
sci-fi, yeah.
Heck yeah. And I'm very, very excited about it.
That's awesome. And one thing, Joe's saying too, that he loves when actors step behind the camera. Yeah. I know it helps knowing the process from all angles, no pun intended. But yeah, and there's a lot of actors that have taken like their career as successful actors and like been able to, like Elijah Wood has a lot to do with a lot of independent stuff and like just weirder stuff, that he would never normally, like in his regular Hollywood thing, wouldn't really, you wouldn't see him involved in. So
right.
Yeah, and we just when we talked about Renfield, there was a director from The Dinner Party. He was also in it, Miles Doliak, and he's in Renfield. So like he acts in like bigger stuff, and then he makes independent movies at the same time. Like he directs them and writes them and stuff too. So it's cool that people can, if they can find their niche and then be successful, and then use that to do the other things that you want to do as well. That's pretty awesome. And then give other people more opportunities at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very inspiring too, because we all the time say, well, if we coulda, shoulda, coulda, woulda, whatever, you actually take that to the next step and actually do something with it. So that's what separates, the actors and everything too, is, so many people want to do it, but other people take that and run with it. So
they just I'm just going to take my thoughts and actually do them, as opposed to like, I really want to do this. And then I'm just going to get more water out of the refrigerator instead. I just do that.
And I definitely had a lot of those days before I decided to do something about it. It was a lot of like, well, that's a nice idea, or that sounds good. But eventually, I just ripped the Band-Aid off, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go with it and see where it takes me, because you never know where you're gonna go with things. And for me, like, I know I've always wanted to do something creative, and it turns out I love all things creative. And I always joke, I'm like, if I was passionate about anything else besides like acting or entertainment or film, I would do that instead, because it's a little easier.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is good. But I'm very glad that, I stuck with this and went with it, and am learning every day basically from all these different sides of the camera.
Oh, totally. And I mean, again, not to, whatever, it's good that you're younger and stuff like that, because it must be harder. Like, like I have a job, my wife has a job, and all that stuff. So it's like, I can't really like rip the Band-Aid off and be like, hey, I'm just not going to pay my mortgage these next couple of months, and I'm going to do
Yeah, it definitely can get a little trickier. I know for me, I always joke, I'm like, I'm still young enough to where it's okay if I mess up my life a little bit, like.
I'm not going to say exacts, but I messed up my life pretty badly around your age, actually maybe a little bit older, and I've come back. It happens. Bankruptcy is a thing that goes away eventually.
Right.
As long as you learn from it.
Exactly.
I was bankrupt at one point. So he's asked, Sergio's asking what the next movie trailer is. We don't have another one today, but is there? So you have Massacre Academy. There's a trailer for that out there already.
There is, yes.
Then you have Wolf Hollow. Is there anything else for Sergio, who's apparently addicted to trailers? Stuff?
I don't think quite at the moment. Again, I do have that short film I'm working on, which I'm sure will release some sort of a teaser, or the film itself. But I've just been taking a lot of time behind the camera lately and just setting things up. But as I continue to do projects, I will definitely be sure to send those out so you guys can find them and see them and check them out.
Yeah, definitely. Angel and I have actually been joking around. Like, that's one of the things we were laughing very hard about the other night, is we're coming up with bad ideas for fake movie trailers and stuff.
Love it.
Because he's an aspiring cinematographer himself, and I'm obviously very interested in this stuff. So we want to just for fun kind of deal, just do a short.
Well,
or something.
you could do like pull a Trauma. They had those like
totally.
VHS Massacre or whatever, where it was just like a bunch of fake trailers for all these fake movies.
Yeah,
and then one of those fake movies.
Stuff we're coming up with easily would have been one of those easily. It's cheesy as all get out, but anyways, I can speak on it afterwards.
So then we were talking before the show too. Is now you're doing your own little production and everything, but then you took it a step further, and we were saying acting is one side, but then you're doing the whole modeling side too.
That's right.
Now going into that, was it also because of acting, it kind of opened up your modeling? Like, did you have that anxiety? Maybe I didn't want to do it before, but now, now that I'm acting, why not try this venture? Or
so I don't know. Like, it just kind of like fell into my lap. Like, whenever I came here, I came with the expectation of like, okay, I'm gonna just grow the acting, maybe more with the writing, and then an opportunity presented itself for modeling. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to turn this down. Like, for me, I did pageants whenever I was a teenager and like a little younger, and they were not my favorite. So I kind of like had a thing against modeling for a little bit, just because of they're not the same. Children's pageants and things like that, and modeling is very different.
Having a kid do a pageant, it's almost like forceful in some ways. It's just like they're not really like, oh, I want to do a pageant today. It's like, well, I want to go outside and play. That's what you want to do. Like, I don't know.
I think like when I was a kid, I liked the idea of it, and then I had to go and do it, and I was like, this is like gut-wrenchingly awful. Like this is really bad. And it's nothing against pageants. Some people love them, and it's all for it. But for me, I was just like, I don't belong here. I want to like be in pants, not a dress, and out in the dirt somewhere, or outside. And yeah. So I ended up getting back into the modeling though, and it's been awesome. I've been working with this really cool photographer. His name is Dan O'Connell, and he has his own like photography studio. So we've been working together and like building portfolios and all these really cool shoots. And I'm constantly posting that on Instagram, and I have another one of them coming out as well. So it's been really cool working with the different photographers down here. And it's a new side of the industry, one I didn't know I was gonna like start getting into, but it's been great.
Yeah. And again, you're young. It's something you can do. I could be a before model maybe on some no, but I'm just saying like now's the time, right? So it's you're at the right spot. You're getting the opportunities that are coming your way, and you're doing the right thing and being like, yep, I'm going to do that. As opposed to when I was a kid and things were coming my way, I'm like, yeah, crazy. Like I'm just going to work in minimum wage jobs for the rest of my life. Yeah.
But the thing is with movies, and I'm sure modeling too, you have the beauty side, but then you have the very like, I don't even know what to call it, like the catty side or whatever, where everybody's in competition. Like, was that one of the reasons that you kind of steered away from it too? Because
I think so. Yeah.
Just real quick, Joe's going to take off. Awesome talking to you, Joe. He's saying congrats on your blossoming career.
Thank you.
And yeah, he's the man. So yeah, I agree. I second that. Congrats. I'm happy that things are going well for you. It's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. But back to your original question, I definitely think that the cattiness did kind of steer me, because for me, like, yes, it is a competition. Yes, we are competing, but for me, like, I'm either gonna get the roles or I'm not. I'm gonna either, get the movie, get the role, get the job. So there's no reason to like bring somebody else down in the process or push somebody out of the way, or because again, like you're either gonna get it or you're not. It's just how it is. And I like try to use my platforms to give tips and give tricks and things like that, and to not like almost gatekeep these industry things, because if I can help somebody, like, why not,
Right. Well, I hear you. I'm in the same boat. I'm totally in the same boat. I've never been the kind of person that, like, if I'm in a situation and I can possibly pass that situation on to someone else that this is something that they need or whatever, I'm like, yep, I'm all about it. Have at it. Like back in the day playing with bands, if like those bands that needed gigs or whatever, if I was able to get them gigs, I would be like, yeah, come on, let's go, whatever. Right. And same deal when it comes to podcasts. Like when me and my cousin Leo started doing this stuff, same deal. Like we would moderate panels at conventions, and like, hey, there's a lot of stuff going on here. There's a lot of podcasters here. I'm sure they want in on this too. So it's like, hey, let's get everyone together, farm this out, figure out who wants to do what. It's all experience for everyone. And, that's share the wealth for sure. So yeah, I agree.
But then you were, in the beginning, you were saying, hopefully a little Felissa and Lynn kind of rubbed off, but it sounds like it, that you had it even before them, where, being, very humble in the situation and sharing your knowledge, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, like, there's, again, that sense of competition, and people are just very, like, insecure. I think it's what it really comes down to, of like, oh, if I help this person, they might do better than me, or if I help this person, I might lose a job. But, like, at the end of the day, if you're doing your craft to the best of your ability, and you're doing what you know how to do, you'll get that role, if it's meant for you. So, for sure.
Exactly. No, that's very good. I respect that 100%, and I'm glad to hear that. So there are even in like podcasting, there's a lot of people that are just out for themselves, and they don't care about helping anyone. They're like, it's me, that's it. I don't care. Like, that's awesome. Your show is sick. You deserve that guest. That's great. If anything, hook a brother up. But I'm just saying, but no, that's sick. And we're definitely looking forward to seeing Wolf Hollow and whatever else comes our way. And definitely keep us posted, because before Angel had to take off too, but he said he's looking forward to August so he can see Wolf Hollow. and he's like, get that series when it let me know when I can get that series when it drops. So if you can get the series,
so one of the things I actually forgot to talk about is going back to the whole like animal intestines and blood and stuff. I remember from Massacre, you said you got a nice drench full of the fake blood and everything. Were you ready for it on this one? Like,
not with real stuff.
Well,
so like Massacre, thankfully my character didn't come out like too bad, but for Wolf Hollow, it was definitely like Carrie on steroids, basically. Is kind of what we were using to pitch it for a while. Whenever I was first presented the role, that was the first thing that I was approached with. Like before the script was even written, like Mark knew. He was like, I have this scene in mind. He's like, I really want to do it. How do you feel about it? And I was like, all right, but you have to get it back. That was like our terms and conditions. If I have to, you have to. And it worked out and it was good. But yeah, I remember on set, like, first of all, we were filming in July or June. So it was like really hot for majority of the days. And then, of course, every time I was covered in fake blood, it would be like freezing cold. It was like literally, you can see me in the movie like shaking. But yeah, so I don't know if I was necessarily expecting it, but yeah.
With those temperatures and stuff, I'm sure the intestines probably were even less pleasurable.
It was. Thankfully, it wasn't like steaming hot, which was good. But it was not my finest experience.
Yeah.
On camera.
But it's something that a lot of movies have dealt with. If you go back and you read like about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it was like in Texas and it was like crazy heat and everyone was getting sick because it was legit things were just rotting around them.
Oh gosh, no, thankfully we did not have those extremes, but we did definitely have a lot of the heat to work around, and thankfully we would take a lot of breaks and water breaks because we filmed a lot of the movie inside of an RV, and so we would sometimes have to cheat those shots to make it look like it was nighttime, so we put the RV in a warehouse. So we're in a metal box, inside a metal box around noon in July. It probably reached about 100 degrees easily inside that RV, and there was no air conditioning whatsoever. And again, thankfully, we were cautious of taking breaks, getting water. Mark was very good about that. But yeah, we definitely had some of the heat to deal with.
Yeah, that's no good.
Oh yeah,
Box in a box in the sun.
Yeah.
Tony, have you ever been in like a big metal like warehouse or anything in the summertime?
When I used to work at UPS,
we had
God. The thing was, the plastic trucks were actually worse than the metal because it just engulfed everything. So I could just imagine. I mean, going back, especially I was the only one. Granted, I was moving a whole bunch of boxes, but having multiple people in the same spot in a tighter space was probably that much worse. At least the trucks were a little bit bigger, so I could just imagine at that point.
Yeah.
That's one of the people like, oh, this looks so glamorous. You're like, let me talk about glamour.
Yeah, for sure. Like, and we would cram like easily 3, 4, 5, 6 of us inside of that RV at a time. So we made it work and we got through it, but that might have been the scariest experience on set. Like, Rough was like, oh man, the heat, that was the real villain.
For real. I'd be like, all right, from now on, I'm only doing spring. Fall. That's the only time I'm doing movies. Yeah.
And that's the one thing when I was doing my live before, because whenever we talk, they're always talking about, more of the mainstream stuff. And I'm like, ever since doing this podcast, I look for more independent movies and everything. And I'm just like, you have no idea. Like all the stories we heard different places. It's like, you think but you have no idea. So one thing is crazy is shooting in 2 weeks. You said that it took.
Yeah.
You look at like the behind the scenes of these big movies, and they're like, yeah, we were shooting for like 7, 8, 9 months, about a year, and it's like, well, okay, well these movies are doing it when they can, 2 weeks in and out, kind of. It's just like it's crazy how quickly and what the product comes out as. So that's why I give it to, especially a lot of the indie films, a lot more than I ever would for the mainstream.
For sure.
Yeah, and then eventually Hollywood just rips off the indie movies anyway. So it's like, all right, the movie that you're ripping off to make for $1 bajillion, you made for $47, and they sweat their faces off in a box. I don't know. Either way, all right. So it's about that time. So besides, where can people go to find out more information? You post stuff about your modeling and all this other stuff. So where's the best place for people to follow you to find out more about what's going on?
So I have an Instagram and a TikTok, which is both just my first and last name at Christina Krakowski. And for projects, you can keep up with me on IMDb as well.
Nice. So Tony, did you when you talked about today's show, did you link her TikTok in your?
I was not thinking at that point. I don't even know if I could. I think I could, but then it would only last for live. I mean, I definitely could promote it a little bit better.
I'll find it and I'll repost it online.
Just look for the guy who has got like a 20. What is it? How many are you up to now?
21.4.
Oh man, you're beating me.
It's crazy. That's awesome, man. I'm happy for him. He's been trying and like all these different
that's so cool.
YouTube, all this other stuff, and it's just like this one clicked. It's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, make it worth it. Buying all the movies behind you.
Exactly.
So Tony, what about besides your very famous star-studded TikTok? Where can people find you?
Tony has 9 fingers on YouTube, where I do movie reviews, unboxings. I'm gonna do it a little bit more, but you'll find it there. Tony has 9 fingers on Twitter, which I hardly ever use. Tony has 9 fingers on TikTok, which is, like Kevin mentioned, my quickest growing social media. I'm on there most of the time. Tony's Movies on Instagram, where I show off the movies behind me. And of course, here on the Wicked Horror Show, every Tuesday night, most Tuesday nights, whether we have an awesome guest or it's just, horror movie talk or whatever is upcoming. Kevin.
Just A-Knuckle on Instagram. And besides doing this stuff, I'm also part of That Strange Show now, which is also on the Dorkening Podcast Network. And Black and White Fright. I think we're doing our 100th episode of Black and White Fright coming up. We're going to do King Kong. So it's just a podcast where we talk about classic horror. And, most classic horror is not actually horror, which is weird. Like a lot of it's more like almost drama. It's weird. I don't know. It was horror back then. But you can find me in all those lovely places. So go check out Wolf Hollow when it comes out. And we'll keep you posted, too. As soon as we know that it's out and about or it's ready to come out, I know I'll be posting about it, and maybe we'll have some people on to talk about it. That'd be cool. Yeah. But anyways, thanks for watching and/or listening, and have a good rest of your night, and goodbye.